going to the NEEWER MS60B, where you will have this digital vision, where you will be able to set the intensity, also set the mode, control via Bluetooth if you want. You can use the DC. If you want to use the battery, you will need to simply connect this one over here, use a special battery, the NEEWER NPF750, which is a 5600 milliamperes battery. Just charge this with one single battery, but it tends to drain very fast. The maximum time I got with a lower setting using this is about 1 hour. They say uses a fan to cool down. I never even heard this fan. So let me turn it on. Here you can see that the light's a little bit more like space and evenly, because technically you're not supposed to just light up your face or whatever you want like this. You can set the intensity, you can set the mode all the way from 2700 Kelvin until 6500 Kelvin. I usually like to set on 5600, which is a normal ambient daylight. I like about this is that it comes with the Bowens Mount, and it is basically an adapter that allows you to connect and then also be able to use other products. So let me slot in, so you can just do like this, and now you're able to use a range and variety of lighting gear. So let's see the NL660. Uses 40 watts of power, it has DC between 12 to 15 volts, is bicolor between 3200 Kelvin until 5600 Kelvin, and there's no actual display. So everything that you do, you need to basically eyeball it. You also have this little thing where you can tilt the angle depending on the way you want to show. Has this adapter so you can put in a tripod. Apart from that, you have this area over here where you can use the battery, or you can just keep it off, or you can use the DC. So if you want to use the battery like I do, you will need the NEEWER NPF550, which is this 2600 amperes battery that can easily run this about 1 hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So it's just a 2-pin battery, so you just need to go over here, slot it, connect, and that's it. Now you can use the battery mode even with just one. Of course your power will be limited. So let's go into the other side over here. So you have this basically 4-way fold panel, which will allow you to direct the LED light to whichever place you want to deliver. The main thing with this is that the light is still very harsh. I'll give an example. So if I turn on the battery, you see that I can control, so I can make more yellow or less yellow, and also I can control the intensity, so making no intensity to all the way of intensity, right? But the main thing is, if you're trying to position this to your face, it is still a very harsh light. So what you will need also complementary to this is a diffuser box, which I bought this one in specific. So the diffuser box will basically connect the LED panel and light, and it will receive the light and diffuse it better. So why this is important is because you don't want to make objects shine. You don't want to make specific things be too glowy or the skin look too flat. So here's a comparison with same settings without a diffuser, and now the same settings with a diffuser. So the softbox will make the light less harsh, and these strips over here will try to diffuse the light instead of all of them coming from the same angle to your face. So that makes the light less harsh and better to show if you're showing your face or a specific object. Alright, so the first thing will be connecting the battery into here. So now the next thing that we're going to do is use the screw mount to screw the NEEWER into the place. On here you have the cable, which is the same one that I show in the desk, so you just need to connect over here, and now it is power. Another very nice thing that you have this little lever where you can change basically the angle if you want to change more to a upwards orientation or downwards. And now we have our setup complete. But the next thing I'm going to do is to add on this Bowens Mount a lantern softbox, and adds a very nice smooth light to your skin and makes any footage looks professional. Going to the Bowens Mount and rotate. And now that it is locked in, you see that I have my lantern softbox. So the main difference of having a light like this is to make your face way more softer than any light will do. Of course, if you see like this, it's just overexposing my footage, but the moment I put this in an angle and then I just adjust towards to me, you see that instantly I look better. So now what I'm about to do is to show you the difference between having a fully dark room and lighting up myself just with the softbox and without the softbox. So first I will use the NEEWER MS60B, and then after that I will use the LED panel. So the first thing to consider is that the aperture of these lenses is 1.4. Why do I say that? Is because the lower your aperture, the more light can come through the lenses to your camera, and less light accessories you will need. While if you use a 4, you will need way more light, otherwise your camera will have a lot of noise because you will need to increase your ISO. The main difference between talking without a light and with a light is that with the light you will have a softer look into your face, but also help the camera to lower the ISO, because some of them you might have automatic ISO exposure. It will help to lower the ISO and just get a crisp and without noise image. So this is what we are getting from the NEEWER 60B, and I'm using the intensity 4. If I really put all the intensity up, it would just overexposure my image. So this is why it's very important to use a histogram where you can see the wavelengths. So now let's try to switch to the other NEEWER, the LED panel. Another thing to consider, when you're buying a light, you're actually not just buying a light, you buy the light with the accessories. The light by itself, it won't be great if you don't have anything to diffuse the light. So in this case, this NEEWER MS60B costs around $199, the tripod costs around $42, and the lantern costs about $80. And the batteries, if you want to use batteries, they cost more around $30 or $40. So in total, you can see it probably cost me around $400 to $500 just to have this light. This other NEEWER is more practical, as you can see. So I just need to connect one more battery and now we're good to go. So having nothing and having this one, you see that already helps a lot. So of course, this is a little bit harsh still. So what I would usually do is place a little bit further away from me so the light can come and diffuse more soft. Because the closer it gets, even though I'm using the diffuser, you see that the light is just hitting very harsh on one side and leaving the other side a little bit like left. So in the end of the day, it's just about the size, unfortunately, and the power as well that one can deliver compared to this. So now comes the biggest question. Should you buy the MS60B or should you buy just the bicolor LED panel? Definitely depends on your budget. If I had to just choose one, I would probably go with the MS60B because it's more versatile. You can use for different things. So for example, if you want to shoot a product, you can. If you wanted to film yourself, you can. And you can find that way cheaper compared to the LED panel where everything's made and fit for the LED panel, which usually comes a little bit more expensive as well. If you like videos like this, just subscribe to the channel because I will be posting videos like this every week. And usually these are gadgets that I own. I've been using them for at least 6, 7, 8, 1 year, even more, and I really recommend using them.